To sort a list, call the sort list method on the list without any arguments. It will reorder the current list. However, if you want to create a new list, use the built-in sorted function and supply a list as an argument. The sorted function will return a sorted version of the list. In the example on our screen, we create a small list of animals. Next, we create a new list called sorted animals by using the sorted built-in method and passing in the animals list to it. When we print the animals list to the screen, we have our original list. And then when we print the sorted animals list, we can see that it is sorted alphabetically. Next, we alter the list itself by running animals.sort. Now that when we display the contents of the animals list to the screen, we can see that it's alphabetically sorted. To concatenate or combine two or more lists, use the plus sign. In this example, we concatenate the animals and more animals list into a new list called all_animals. When we print the all animals list to the screen, we can see that the man, bear, pig list was added to or concatenated with the cow, duck, horse list. To determine the number of items in a list, use the len built-in function and pass in a list. Here, our original list of animals contains 3 items. So when we print the len of animals, it returns 3. If we were to append another item to the list, like cow for instance, then the length of the animals list has grown by 1, and therefore print len animals returns 4. The built-in range function generates a list of numbers and is often paired with the for statement. This comes in handy when you want to perform an action a given number of times, or when you want to have access to the index of a list. The range function requires at least one parameter that represents a stop. By default, range generates a list that starts at 0 and continues up to, but not including the stop. So to generate a list of 3 items, use range and pass in the number 3. The list starts at 0 and will contain the numbers 0, 1, and 2. You can specify the start as well as the stop. To do this, first pass in the start, followed by a comma, and then specify the stop. To start a list at 1 and stop at 3, use range 1, 3. This will generate a list that only contains 2 items, the numbers 1 and 2. In addition to the start and stop parameters, the range function can also accept a step parameter. When using all 3 parameters, the list will start at the start value, stop just before the stop value, and increment the list by the step value. If no step value is specified, as in the previous examples, its default value is 1. Here's how we can generate a list that includes all of the odd numbers from 1 to 10. First, we pass in a start of 1 to range, and then we specify 10 as the stop, and finally we specify 2 as the step. Here's an example of using the range function with a list to print every other item in that list. Here we specify 0 as the start, the length of the list as the stop, and finally 2 as the step. So you can see on our screen that the first item in the list at index 0 is printed, and then the item at index 2 is printed, pig, and then the item at index 4, duck, and then finally the item at index 6 is printed, which is dog.